I don't know what to make of Sublight Underground. Or Slug, I guess.
You got an appointment?
I can't shake the feeling they had something to do with Miss Helen's death.
Appointment? Yeah, that's why you're here. Appointment? Not entirely out of the question. The boss can always use more bits. All right, I'll give him a call, but I've got my eye on you. Mr. Kincannon, got an appointment here. Says they've got some kind of business proposition for you.
We don't toss troublemakers out of airlocks. We just throw them over the edge.
Why, if it isn't the inspector, I was hoping you'd swing by. Here for my alibi, I assume. Let's see. That night, I was... torturing Elliot Nasser for information on missing cargo. That was a messy one. Didn't break until nearly noon the next day. Can you imagine? His spine, specifically. If you'd like to know the exact vertebrae, I'm afraid I don't know. I can tell you he's quite dead. Not that it matters much. You'd be a fool to believe me, regardless of what I told you. People lie, and I am, incriminatingly, people. And I appreciate that, Inspector. The fact of the matter is, I know I didn't kill Helen, and I trust you fully and completely to find whoever did. If it helps, however, you might consider pursuing not my means, but my motive. Why in the name of the architect would I kill Halcyon Helen? She was making me a fortune. I'm considering a line of commemorative merchandise. Still, that's nothing compared to what Helen would have made us in the long run. I'd offer to assist you in your work, but I've a mystery of my own to solve, I'm afraid. You may very well want to. This particular trouble strikes me as not unrelated to your investigation. Items are disappearing from Slug's storage and processing warehouse. The thefts began a week before Helen's unfortunate death, and there have been more instances since. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. I'm not sure. I'm only confident there is one. That the thefts began mere days before Helen's untimely demise is an extraordinary coincidence. I'm not a man who believes in happenstance, Inspector. I do not trust it. Has it? I wonder. How much of your luck has been luck, and how much are you downplaying as chance? Regardless, this will be fun. You out in the field, chasing down leads, me scheming in my office, preparing to unspeakably mangle the perpetrator. Oh, I never subcontract out that type of work, Inspector. You'll want to speak with Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman. I've cleared her as a suspect myself, but should she refuse to cooperate, shoot her. No, I'm joking. If she won't cooperate, tell me and I will shoot her. And do feel free to search my office for clues while you're here. Don't hold back on my account. Was there something else you wanted to do? Very well. A few. Helen was strangely curious about the private business operations around Erydanos. She said it was role research. But how much business know-how does one actor truly need for an action picture? I also arranged to have Helen supplied with mag picks, bypass shunts, and that she bought in bulk? Not particularly. It takes time to learn to use tools like that deftly. I wonder, did she run out of time in the end? That is the question, isn't it, Inspector? Tell me, do you really believe Helen's death was a mere crime of passion? Or one of... This murder is bigger than Miss Helen's personal life. Bigger than her latest moving picture. Indeed. I suspect Helen arrived on Erydanos with grander plans than promoting Spectrum Brown. I knew I was right about you being clever, Inspector. I'm glad. Because whoever did kill Helen is not going to come forward so easily. I just might. Your point, Inspector? Am I an official suspect then? Intriguing. I'll look forward to how it all plays out. Be very careful, Inspector. I'd very much like to see you still around for the grand finale. One moment, if you please, Inspector. I've answered your questions. I believe it's my turn to ask you a question now. What, or who, made you decide to investigate me? Understandable. A man of my standing would naturally be tied up in all this, whether he wishes to be or not. Now then, did you need anything else? Bar fight? Drunk raptidons? Black hole birdie practicing his hacking in the middle of the street? Stop me if it's one of those, or I'll just keep guessing.
There was an incident. You should have seen Eileen. Besides being an absolute gem of an assistant, she's a terror with a fountain pen. Raptidons aside, what was your incident? Sounds as though you've already sorted it out yourself. In short, Slug has not sent anyone to rough you up, Inspector. That would be acting against our own self-interest. Now ask yourself this. Why would anyone give thugs slug gear and send them after you? Well, to smear my name, anyway. But I can't fathom who would benefit from tarnishing my reputation like that. Can you? Oh, that's good. That's very good, Inspector. I like this. Dominant. Aggressive, The woman in charge. I don't want to accuse anyone without hard evidence, though it may be worth noting Ludovico has motivation in spades.
So, as you've deduced, I did not send anyone from Slug after you, nor is it likely they assigned themselves that task. Still, I am sorry for the trouble, Inspector. With that matter settled, is there anything else you'd like my assistance? The original incident? I made him an offer he should have refused. An excellent deduction, Inspector. Our combative relationship stems from paperwork, mundanely enough. Rizzo's contracted Sublight to construct the Eриdaно스 atmospheric complex. Had Lou wanted Rizzo's to retain full control of Eриdaно스, he shouldn't have skimmed the revised contract I sent him. Lou's an administrator, for law's sake. I thought he would adore all the fine print I added. Think of it this way. It was a test, and he failed. It was all perfectly legal, too, which irked Lou to no end. My power grab, as Lou called it, planted the seed of hatred. And Lou, obsessed with what should have been, has made sure to water it daily with his bitterness and anger. Alas, I can't. I am, first and foremost, the head of Slug, and it simply wouldn't be good for business. Slug's control of Eридано스 is a crucial step in my long-term plans for Sublight. The board needs to see irrefutable proof we are a respectable, legitimate business. That certainly seems to be our dear administrator's goal, at least. He's grown increasingly desperate to catch Slug with our hand in the proverbial cookie jar as of late, convinced we're involved in less than legal business opportunities. Not in front of witnesses, I didn't.
Timeline discrepancy detected. This copy of TK contains 142 fewer pages than a standard copy. The missing pages were likely removed.
You figured that out just by looking at it? Huh. We ought to talk shop one of these days.
Inspector, please consider speaking into the device in order to trace the transmission and reveal the receiver's location. Poor woolly cow impression transmitted. Transmission analysis complete. While the precise location of the receiver could not be pinpointed, analysis inconclusive. The area within a 0.5 meter radius of the book possesses a dust coating comprised of at least twice the number of particles. That is highly likely.
What's that you found? No, wait, don't tell me. Let's save it for the big reveal once you've solved the case.
That's a lot of containers. Is this just a distribution center, or you think they're planning something?
Timeline discrepancy detected. Transmission endpoint discovered. The receiver in this book matches the transmitter to the listening device found due to the high level of foot traffic in this, based on the accumulated mix of sludge and detritus.
Hi there! Sorry, this area is off limits to port vision. Oh, wait half a second. You're the inspector. Sorry about that. I'll buzz you right in. Feel free to have a look around, ma'am.
Hey, you think they keep any spare parts down here? Just wondering.
Is Fight Night still on then?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
500 riding on Dr. Billy taking it off.
You bet on a sprat named Dr. Billy? What's he a doctor of?
Victory.
The biology of this sprat is highly unusual. This sprat has been in contact with multiple parasites, yet shows an excellent point, Inspector. The unique immunological subsystem found in sprats is advantageous in fending off parasites, pathogens.
Sprats are hardy little shits. Their immune system fights off pretty much everything.
A cursory analysis of this organism's anatomy suggests it was bred deliberately for its unusually large, based on slug records of board-issued punitive sanctions against sublight salvage and shipping.
Hey there, little buddy. Isn't she just the cutest?
Wait, maybe this N-ray warning isn't decorative. Ooh, fragile. Look at me.
You're the inspector, aren't you? Boss Kincannon said you'd be by about the cargo that's been going missing. Gosh, this is so neat. A real-life inspector. What's that like? Have you solved any mysteries yet? Ever had to shoot a suspect? Case. Just like a real inspector. Right, so the missing cargo. How can I have... That's the weird part. There's no pattern far as I can tell. The thefts don't make sense. I ask you, who would steal a handful of Spacer's Choice Sabers, so dull they can barely cut mud, but leave the spectrum black? Ugh. Who'd be desperate enough to want to steal a Spacer's Choice Saber, full stop? Yeah, probably not. No one's dumb enough to think Spacer's Choice Sabers are worth half a damn. Then there's the most recent theft, 5 boxes of pens, and a couple of sodas. I can't decide which one's sadder. Well, I'm no inspector. If there is one, I'm sure you'll find it. Everyone here at Freight Storage and Processing, for a start. Thing is, the cargo is going missing before the shipments even get to the warehouse. Best I can figure, it's probably getting lost in the shipping yard. As for who has access there, Benton Chan, he's the shipping yard manager. He told me it's mainly just the loading automechs that handle. Could be. Those things'll break if you so much as look at them funny. That's Benton's area, but don't bother asking him for help. Last time I asked him to check the automechs, the hull head told me he couldn't help because he was dead. Brain dead, maybe. But no. My point is that if you think the automechs are a lead, you'll have to check on them yourself. Hopefully, you're mechanically inclined. Maybe they're keen on cashing out and want to go as painfully as possible. I don't know. Boss Kincannon's office is where he holds most of his meetings with important folks like Miss Helen. Just about all negotiations happen in his office too. Vendor pricing. Oh, before I forget, I figured you might want to access my terminal. Oh no, I forgot to delete all of those incriminating messages I sent about which cargo to steal. Nah. I do have a list of cargo that's gone missing, though, if that helps any.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Inspector, this loading automechanical's programming does not match factory default settings. The standard defensive protocol has been modified to include an additional trigger. For Type K-19 cargo transport automechanicals, defensive protocol is triggered by attempted interference with cargo, or its transportation, or attempted destruction of the unit. Once triggered, defensive protocol targets the perpetrator and applies lethal force until the target has been deceased for a minimum. There is a directive in place to initiate defensive protocol should an unsanctioned data log install. Slug automechanical maintenance records indicate This particular unit is frequently reported as
Loading automechanical unit K-14 is fully operational at 99% power. Please designate the cargo to be transported and its destination. How can this automechanical assist you?
You got it, Cap.
Successfully disabled. Kill mode deactivated. Ejecting data log 17C. Apologies. This unit does not have access. Unit entering standby mode. Have a nice day.
Inspector.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Ooh, I love this part. The big reveal. So tell me, what happened? Well, that is disappointing. Still, you said you've determined how the theft is occurring? Damn, you're good. Hacking the Automex. So that was our skimmer's game. But why? Everything that was stolen has seemed random. So, our culprit had something specific they wished to acquire and used the random theft as a smokescreen. I must say, Inspector, you've done excellent work on this case. Then that just leaves how the culprit knew where their true target would be, or indeed, that Slug would soon possess it. Okay, that's very impressive. Don't ever touch me again. Am I right to think what you found in my office earlier was the other half of this listening device? She, Inspector. She could hear everything. The bug belongs to me, Inspector. I lent it to Halcyon Helen to assist her with role research. That, or she never intended it to stop. Impossible to know now. Unbelievable. I helped her. Gave her whatever she needed. I thought we were doing each other a good turn. I can't begin to guess at her motive. If it was to spit in my face, she'd be pleased to know she succeeded. This is a betrayal, Inspector. I do not take betrayal lightly. Helen should consider herself very lucky indeed that she is already among the dead, and that some other bastard beat me to putting her in the ground. Halcyon Helen is already dead. If I'd known Helen was stealing from me, I may very well have killed her, or had her killed. Alas, I did not. Oh, that is good, Inspector. Now you are thinking in the manner you must if you intend to get to the bottom of this mess. I wish you luck with your investigation, though I doubt you'll need it. You'll find Helen's murderer. I'm confident of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must find a way to excise my anger that minimally damages my business empire. I expect it will involve shooting quite a lot of guns.
Inspector. Closely, I trust. Tell me what you found. That doesn't surprise me. Cedric practically stole his way to Eridanos. He'll do everything in his power to keep you off his trail. With that in mind, do you think Cedric was responsible for Helen's death? I'm pleased to hear that. Cedric hasn't won you over with his clever words. Unfortunately, even I don't have the authority to detain Cedric. His line of work is dangerous, though. There's all of... Well, I'm glad to hear that. I've already... Are you confident you've finished your investigation? You've questioned all your suspects. Law speed, Inspector.
What floor would you like to visit? To the lobby we go!
Anyone else want to camp out in that hunting reserve instead of staying in the penthouse? No? Just me? All right.
I'm thinking of reserving a wilderness safari. Where...
Why would anybody bring raptidons up here? Nope. Maybe there's another way through.
Here they come. Don't mess with us.
This is Silvio Tran, setting a new record for the Grand Colonial Bellhops Laundry Cart League. If you're listening to this, you're listening to history. And Daltrey, as we agreed, when I win, you're scraping terrorist shit off the windows for the rest of your contract. And you can stow the fear of heights routine because there's no way you're weaseling out of that, pal. Here goes. That's... Move the box! No, not... No!
heading inside, Captain? Don't worry. I got your back.
Mr. Kincannon really knows how to run a hotel.
Excuse me, Gunther. I need to ask you something.
Who in the hell is Gunter? I told you to call
I don't know what I'm
Hunter.
doing out here. I'd rather be over at the canteen.
Oh, right. Hunter, have you seen a little mechanical wandering through here? Might have been wearing my hat.
I can't say I have. I consider...
Oh, hey there, stranger. Don't mean to interrupt your business, but have you seen a stray mechanical wandering about? 3 legs, conical body, wearing a worker's hat, woefully unsuited for combat? Well, normally I'd be inclined to disagree with you. Betty's a big girl and can steer clear of danger, but it's been a little too long. Oh, I ain't no hunter. At least not in the traditional sense. Wrenches always suited me better than firearms. A mechanical under my care up and wandered off, that's all. I gotta get her back before anyone notices that either of us are missing. The shopkeep says I should buy one of his rifles and go looking myself. But like my machine, I'm not combat inclined.
We can help her out, right? Won't take too long if we're on the job.
I know it's a pain, but I think I need some outside help. Betty's just your standard tripod mechanical. Though she probably is still wearing my hat. Without it, she seems kind of naked. Her main purpose is cacao milking, but the only cacaos in the reserve are close. Without a directive, she shouldn't have had reason to wander away from the milking area.
Like those boat buckets need a reason to do anything. It's probably searching the world for more things to milk.
Wouldn't make any sense. Ain't no cacaos out there. Betty's smarter than that. Hey, thanks so much. It would have been mighty lonely without her If you find Betty, try sneaking up and hacking her.
Welcome to Hunter Legal's Unusual. This whole land complex is a failed wildlife exhibition turned hunting reserve. You can't go 10 feet without stepping in Unusual. But I reckon you're asking about people Unusual. I'd go have a chat with the prophet of profitability. Maybe she can intuit you in the right direction or something. But she is mighty far in the depths of the reserve. Perhaps you should purchase one of my fine armaments for the journey. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. It is a perfectly normal name for a shop dispensing hunter supplies. Don't get smart with me. I'm just a shopkeep. Hunter supply.
Oh, hey, Candy Canyon! I know this place. It's where they did Free Range Fixer.
If this is a cult, who am I kidding? It's a cult. Hold your judgment until you meet her.
Stop
Some
that!
of my best friends were from Great...
What do you think you're doing?
I suppose I can look away this time.
Hardline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis suggests this to be a variety of herbs. Herbs have been uniformly treated with a pungent chemical mix. Warning: ingesting, smoking, or inserting non-corporation sanctioned substances into your ears may... Side effects from extended exposure include dizziness, nausea, and unconsciousness. Prior analysis suggests these herbs reach peak effectiveness when users burn them and inhale the resulting smoke. Whether or not this increased effectiveness is good for an afflicted individual has yet to be determined. Analyzing. Complete. Substance appears to be a mix of industrial solvents and various essential oils. Substances include woolly cow dander remover, sprat oil, and starship surface wax. Hypothesizing potential side effects from herb consumption. Most likely outcome, decapitation.
Fruitful and productive welcome, sister. I had a feeling you would visit me. I offer a wide variety of productivity seminars. I hope you'll consider taking one. But I should remember my manners. To what do I owe the Certainly, certainly. But first, I'd love to interest you in one of my productivity seminars. We'll free you of those potential hampering humors in a heartbeat. Yes, I understand the pressure of one's employment all too well. We've lately been looking into more ways to bolster the retreat stock of bits. But you needn't worry about how this little conversation is affecting my livelihood, sister. Please, take your time. I'm delighted to extend my desire to aid you, sister. How might I assist? Oh? I'm surprised. I wouldn't think the two of us would have much to discuss about her. We may have had some terse interactions before her death, which I most certainly regret. But beyond those, well, never mind. What would you care to know? I did not. She had no interest in my seminars, and I had no interest in attempting to convert a stubborn actress. Why would I? Why? I've been at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve for quite some time now, as my disciples can attest. In fact, I haven't visited the Colonials since I arrived several weeks ago. Bad energies, you understand. I wouldn't necessarily say that. The media tends to exaggerate. I will admit that her remarks about my seminars were rather unfortunate. However, I certainly wouldn't sharpen any... I hope you now realize that I had nothing to do with Helen's demise. I'm pleased that you noticed. Excellent eye, sister. The compound they're treated with is my own invention, designed to unlock an individual. None of my clients have ever complained, so I'm sure they're perfectly safe. If
Hello! Welcome to the Prophet of Profitability's Private Prosperity Retreat. Stay positive, and soon all your humors will be balanced. Least, that's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, I'm Aaliyah Mason. I work as the Prophet's right-hand woman. What can I do for you? Of course, I've been studying under her for years. I know each of her techniques more or less by heart, and even have some variations of my own, such as the quintuple daily stomach purges. She's promised me that I'd be allowed to open my own branch of the retreat someday soon. Of course, I've been waiting on someday soon for coming up on 4 years now. I'm sure it's... Oh, terribly sorry if I gave you that impression. I had a cramp. It's better now. I mean, it might be nice if I had a little inclination of whether the Prophet appreciated all the cooking and cleaning and hours of meditation I do on a daily basis. But whatever she thinks isn't for me to question. I'll do my best to be more chipper. If you felt imbalanced and unproductive, linger in your malaise no longer. We have all the amenities. Sit for hours in our sweat house and remember, think positive. Oh my. Yes, this is important enough for me to delay my bi-hourly self-flagellation. Ask away. Yes, the circumstances there are quite unfortunate. For a time, the Prophet was completely despondent. Even the hot coal walks weren't buoying her spirits as they usually do. However, we recently had a high-profile visitor whose presence seemed to alleviate whatever the Prophet's feet. I'm actually not entirely certain. It was a surreptitious visit that stood out because it was surreptitious. Whoever it was must have paid the Prophet quite a lot to keep things quiet. At least that's the only reason I can think of for intentionally keeping things so hush-hush. Well, by and large, no. But something rather odd did happen regarding the Prophet recently. A few hours after our high-profile visitor arrived a couple of days ago, the Prophet asked me to take over sessions for the remainder of the day. At first, I was excited. Thought it was my chance to show her what I could do in charge. But then I saw that she was deep. I was here at the retreat in the company of the other disciples and clients. I rarely have more than a few minutes of alone time. Which is fine, of course. I do what I do in the Certainly. Actually, before you go, I want to report something suspicious. I noticed the Prophet dragging something, a bundle, away from the retreat after that high-profile guest arrived. Normally, I'm the one who does her laundry, so it was strange. Especially because whatever she was dragging seemed oddly human-shaped. I think so. Had the right size and shape. I could have, but I generally don't have the time or energy to leave the reserve to contact anyone. Plus, there's always the possibility that I'm mistaken. The Prophet hasn't been herself lately. But if I misinterpreted the situation and reported her improperly, I'd ruin my chances for opening my own wing of the retreat.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Identifying human footprints leading out into the wilderness. It is unusual for productivity to scanning. No. Helen's distinctive shoe size not found. Judging by footprint depressions and shoe size, these prints were either made by the Prophet of Profitability or Adjutant Sophia Akande. Error. Recalibrating. These footprints were made by the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Judging by the shape of this indentation in the dirt, a person of medium height and build laid here for a number of hours, scanning for other details. Only additional signs of disturbance are a few marks in the dirt. Agreed. Likely theory, individual injured was unconscious, not dead, and walked away after awakening. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability.
I'm going to absolutely murder the next quarterly report.
The Prophet of Profitability has changed my life.
Welcome back. How may I help you balance your
The prophet says to purge the mind of truth, that her truth...
By imagining wealth, I can evoke prosperity out of the universe.
She said I must burn away the...
Welcome back, sister. I'm delighted to extend my desire to aid you, sister. How might I assist? Who said that? I'll be sure to give them a special seminar on not needlessly implicating the person who puts food on their table. It was a bundle of clothing, sister. Even productivity geniuses need to do laundry from time to time. Perhaps it wasn't clothes, after all. I had a visitor, yes, but as it turned out, some of my productivity techniques were too much for them. I had to drag them out by hand. But their peers came and collected them shortly thereafter. I'm sure whichever attendee it was is perfectly safe now. Yes, that's correct. She made it clear that my seminars were of no interest to her. Your tone of voice seems to suggest that you have information already, which also suggests you read my terminal. Whatever the case, I didn't care to mention Helen's change in decision because she never showed up. Oh, really? What did you find there? What did I dump? Clever work, Inspector. It seems even I can't slide my way out of the trap you've so intricately weaved. I admit it. I killed Helen. By mistake. Helen changed her mind and wanted to attend one of my sessions. I, knowing the importance of the seminar, desired to truly galvanize her, though not to stop her heart. So when it came time, I chose to double Helen's dosage of productivity-enhancing herbs. I left her to meditate, and when I returned, she was dead. After that, I entered a less than coherent state. One of my disciples, it seems, witnessed me as I dragged Helen's body out into the wilderness. I'm no medical professional, but that certainly seemed the case. Usually my customers at least writhe or mumble after a session. My productivity-enhancing herbs typically do induce sluggishness, but I suppose they must have been enough to do her in. What? Is this some kind of joke? You're an inspector. It's your job to arrest me, isn't it? No. You can't trick me. I finally discovered what's happening. You've been paid off. Someone else learned that I killed Helen, and is going to use that information to blackmail me. You think I'm going to let this injustice happen? Ha! Tell the constable that I killed Helen. It's 1,000 times less miserable than whatever my enemies have planned. Fine. It doesn't matter. Take your money. I hope to find myself in a cozy cell by the end of today. They won't get me if I'm safe in prison.
Inspector, Ms. Leyva earned that title, but not for the reasons you'd expect. The profit business has been profitable for the hotel, not so much for Ms. Leyva's followers. So, tell me, what did you find? Ms. Leyva's techniques have no basis in modern science, but she makes bits hand over fist. If that makes her a fraud, then she's only as fraudulent as our corporate leaders. Does the Prophet strike you as a reasonable candidate for Helen's murderer? I'll bear that in mind. Thank you for the update, Inspector. I'll include everything you've told me in my official report.